All right, so we are ready for chapter 2. I go for a spin. During the week, I go to see Aldo every night. I hardly ever get to see him outside of school. So I was happy when he came into Richie's room on Saturday afternoon. Greetings, my little furry friend, Aldo said. Glad to see you, Aldo, I squeaked back. He laughed. I think you're always glad to see me. I love to make Otto laugh. When he does, his big furry mustache shakes so hard, I sometimes think it's going to fall off. I hear Richie has planned an experiment for you, Otto says. I wouldn't mind if Richie did an experiment with me. I just wouldn't want him to do an experiment on me. Thanks for helping, Uncle Aldo, Richie said. Just then, Poppy came racing into Richie's room. She ran into a circle around Aldo's feet. Poppy, no, Aldo said in a very firm voice. Sit. Poppy did not sit. Instead, she just jumped up onto her paws onto Otto's leg. Then Poppy noticed me. She raced up to the desk and looked straight at me. Woof woof, she barked. Go away, I squeaked. My squeaking only made her bark even more. Look, Richie said, Poppy wants to play with Humphrey. The thought of Poppy playing with me made me shiver and quiver. Poppy just kept on barking. Woof woof woof. Her voice was so loud it made my tiny little hamster ears hurt. Time for you to go, Otto said. He picked up the little dog and carried her out of the room. Then he came back without Poppy and closed the door. Now we can get to work, he said. Thanks, Otto, I squeaked. Otto said, I think Humphrey is glad that Poppy is outside. Otto is a very smart human being. Richie and Otto pulled chairs up to the desk and looked into my cage. Hi, I squeaked. So, what do you want to do? Otto asked Richie. I scrambled to the front of my cage so I could hear Richie's plans. I want to see how many times Humphrey can spin on his wheel in 3 minutes, Richie said. I love spinning on my wheel, and that sounded great to me. That's a good idea, Otto said. How are you going to do that? Richie shrugged. I'm not sure. He spins very fast. Don't you, Humphrey? I scampered over to my wheel and I began to spin. Hey, Humphrey must have understood, Otto said. But that's impossible, Richie replied. He's just a hamster. Otto laughed. You never know with Humphrey. They both leaned a little closer as I began to spin faster and faster. I see the problem, Otto said. He spins so fast it's hard to count how many times the wheel goes round. Yes, Richie agreed. Should I tell him to slow down? Otto shook his head. No, then it wouldn't be a real experiment. I kept on spinning until Richie and Otto thought about the problem. Then I heard a distant woof woof. Poppy was scratching at the door and barking. Go away, Poppy, Richie yelled. I don't think Poppy could hear him over all of that barking. She made me so jumpy that I began to spin even faster and faster. Look at Humphrey go, Richie said. I wish Poppy would go, I squeaked. I wish she would go far away. Otto and Richie watched me spin on the wheel. You need a way to mark each time the wheel goes round. Once, Otto said. Keep spinning and keep thinking. I was hoping they had a good idea because, to squeak the truth, I was starting to get a little tired. I know, Otto said. We need something that makes a sound. Whew, I was glad that Otto had an idea. I let my wheel slow down a bit while I tried to think of something that would make a sound. I looked over at the table where my water bottle was and food dish, and sometimes my water bottle makes a glug 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 sound, but that's not very loud. I looked over at my poo corner, and there's no sound there. I looked down at my soft bedding. Oh, it was so nice and quiet. Then I looked up and saw a tiny bell. Not long ago, my friends gave it to me for a surprise. I stopped spinning and I hopped off my wheel. Then I scampered up to the top of my cage and rang my bell with my little paw. Ding, ding, ding. Otto and Richie were busy thinking that they didn't even hear it. I tried it again. Ding, 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 ding. This time Otto looked up. What's that sound? He said. Richie looked up too. Oh, that's just Humphrey's bell, he said. Otto leaned in a little closer to my cage. A bell? That's just what we need. Thanks, Humphrey. You're welcome, I told him. Otto probably didn't understand my squeaks, but I was happy that he liked my idea. Richie and Otto got to work. First, Richie took the wheel out of my cage and put it on his desk. Don't worry, Humphrey, he said. We'll get it back. Otto made a stand out of a coat hanger. He hung the bell on the coat hanger with a piece of string. He set it near the wheel. We need something that will ring the bell each time the wheel spins, Otto says. It must be strong enough to ring the bell, but small enough to fit under the wheel. This time, Richie had come up with a good idea. Soon they had attached a bent paper clip to the side of my wheel. Humphrey, we need your help again, Richie said. That was good news because classroom hamsters, we love to help. Richie reached into my cage and gently placed me on my wheel again. You know what to do, Humphrey, he said. Yes, I did. I began to spin my wheel faster and faster. Ding, 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 ding. Just then, Richie put his hand on my wheel. I stopped suddenly and I tumbled over. Oh, I'm sorry, Humphrey, he said. He gently placed me back in my cage. Richie told me that I needed to finish the rest of the experiment. The rest of the experiment? Well, what was going to come next? Would I end up like the Frankenstein monster? Just then, I heard something whining and scratching at the door. Poppy was back. Woof, woof, she barked. I shivered a little. I didn't want to turn into a monster, and I really didn't want to play with Poppy. So we'll read chapter 3, and it is called The Great Dog Disaster.